Welcome back out there. This is page 11 in part 1. Um, I know I'm recording a lot here. Come on. Okay, today. I'm not even sure. Not even sure if these will end up going up or if I'll end up scrapping them or what. I'm just kind of recording because lately I seem to be falling back into a sleep deficit. I'm just tired and dragging and all that fun stuff. It's just you just get so worn out. Um, you basically just kind of lie around and don't really do much. I don't know how much I've got to talk about here anyway. I'm just, oh my god. Seriously, what is the malfunction? There we go. I could get them through the door. Yeah, actually, you know what? I wasn't going to, but actually, what are we looking at? There we go. I'm gonna leave the camera there. Let's go to perspective. Let's go 55. Oh my god, this is dragging. Thank you, Windows. There we go. I'm not exactly sure how. Come on. I'm not exactly sure how straightforward the previous page was. I think as I've been thinking about this story, the dilemma is, there were two choices as to what to do here. Do I shrink Michael first and then have her sort of have Allison panic and shrink her mother later when Liz discovers it, or do I have them sort of both shrink at the same time? And Allison doesn't realize that Liz got shrunk too. And then the idea is they get separated. Michael gets taken by Allison, and Liz is just spent wandering around the house trying to get noticed or not get noticed or whatever. So I'm kind of inclined to do it this way. What the heck? Oh, she's not on the ground. That's why I control D. Whoops, let's not get too much of an upshot. We don't want to have nudity here on YouTube. Okay, let's go back to the camera. Okay. I think that might be, I'm kind of like thinking that might be more fun. So then it becomes, how do you, so then it's like the challenge is, how is Liz, it's like, how is Liz there without Allison seeing her? And how do you separate them by the time Allison comes in to grab Michael? So I'm not really sure if it came across all that clearly on the page, but the idea is that she drops the cookie and she goes down to pick it up and accidentally touches his foot at the moment Allison fires off the size changer, which I suppose leaves a huge plot hole that which leaves a bit of a plot hole, which has probably been there since the beginning. That if you end up shrinking everything connected to your target, then how come the house doesn't shrink, seeing as it's touching their feet? But it's the idea she was touching his foot, and then in order to separate them, the idea is that when she gets up, she whacks her head on the side of the countertop. You see the big red star. But it's the challenge is that the countertop isn't directly over her head, so in order to do it, she's got to kind of, it's like you got to kind of imagine she's going sideways into the countertop. It's like I don't think it's really that clear on the page, but that's what's going on. So I want it to look like she's in. I was thinking she was going to be like knocked out, and that's how they get separated. But I'm thinking as I'm like doing this, I'm thinking more that she just got knocked down, not out. So she's going to get up and kind of stumble over to the side of the island. So she'll be kind of hidden a little bit when Allison comes back. And that way it doesn't look as bad as it does right now. Oh my god. And here we are now that I want to shoot this for you guys. It's apparently going to take twice as long to render this image as it's been taking. Oh, what does Task Manager say? No, it's not using up the resources, so there's no excuse for it. And here we go. Oh my, come on, there you go. Jeez, what is wrong? Windows. How about we cut it here? Okay. Oops, I keep doing that. New layer. go ahead and cut that, and then we will go paste as a new layer. And we'll just make that invisible for now. What are we going to select? Invert, shrink, yes, and invert again, and then we cut. And I have my border. There we go. Oops. Let's see. Great. Oh, there we go. Oh. And she's still got the cookie. Actually, maybe. And I think in one of the previous videos, I talked about wanting to kind of discuss or talk about. Well, I didn't say specifically what it was I wanted to talk about, but I kind of wanted to address, sort of wanted to talk about the fight that they were having, but you know what? All this work on the hand, I can probably cheat this. There we go. I probably don't even need to show her hand, but you know, I think when I kind of got to working on those pages, it just didn't want to. Let's go cry and see what's going on. Okay. I just think it was like when I got to it, I kind of just couldn't really talk about it, so. I couldn't bring myself, but. You're okay. I'm gonna split it here. There we go. Okay, this is small enough to do where I can put it here and still have it. See, and here it is. I'm shooting, letting you guys in, and I don't really have much to talk about this to go around. I think, too, part of the slowness here is, I mentioned in one of the earlier videos, kind of talking about how sort of the messed up data store has been creating a lot of worthwhile buying opportunities. So I've just been kind of slowly downloading the content, and I've been playing around with it a little bit. Hmm. And we're still not. Oh my god. So... Okay. Any moment now, this is going to render. Jeez. Huh. I'm sure if you remember from the first two videos, if they go up, I did on this for pages 1 and 2. This didn't take this long. Oh my god. Still waiting. Come on. Oh my god, there we go. Jesus. Okay. Let's see, open as later. Okay, I can bring the word bubble up here. Okay, so cutting it here. Or not. Reading. Okay. There we go. Come on. There we go. Yeah. Okay, got it. Let's see. What do I want to do? Layer to image size. It's like going through one of those phases where I can't seem to get the mouse the mouse kind of constricts a little too much. Invert. Plus my mind is kind of starting to wander a bit. That's what happens when these pictures don't render as fast as they should. Mark down. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I think, will it work like this? Yeah, okay, we can do that. Okay. Save. Okay. Oh my god, what is this now? Jesus. Okay, let's go 0. Keys. Okay, that's not, how about we just delete everything? Except that snowman, I can't grab that. Delete the keys. This silly cookie. At least it's gonna shrink with her, and she'll have some food. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Let me see how to do this. Okay. She's got the cookie in that hand, but she bumped her head on that side. And there we go. Here we go. Okay. We're getting there. Twist this just a little bit more. Okay. Let's. So we're already there. This one. Yeah. Here we'll explain it in case it wasn't obvious on the previous page. Yeah, I just whacked my head on the counter. I just whacked my head on the counter. On the side. Let's go. There we go. I just whacked my head on the side of the counter. She'll throw that in to kind of make light of it a little bit. But yeah, I'm okay. It happens all the time. Really, it does. There we go. Just a little bit. That's good. Merge down. Ah, did it. There we go. 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 before this is over, I have to pull up the calculator and find out exactly how small they're supposed, like what the percentage on the scale is supposed to be. And I'll probably take a look. I'll probably look at it before settling on it. But I was thinking it's going to be another it's going to be another 6-inch tall scenario. But let's see. Problem is, I always get annoyed doing the stories when the characters get that small. So like the later bit of Showtime, Aiden's bully was a pain in the butt, because it's just overall harder to work with that big a size difference in the characters. Oh my god. Plus the textures start looking, you start noticing how bad some of the textures are when it's like that up close and personal with everything. Like I think on the countertop here, it's not. It's like a texture that's meant to be looked at from a distance. It's not really meant to be. Oops, this one up close. And the idea is like when the characters are really small, then the story is meant to be more of an interaction. Let's see, between the tiny character and the set itself. That's when you put them on a desk and oh my god. Come on. I'm on the wrong one. Shoot, there. Talking to you guys and I forget what I'm doing here. I'm not really paying attention, but oh well. Whoops. Yeah, this is where I am. I'm just like not really thinking right now, but okay. And I think I'm going to cut this one here. Okay. Layer to image size. Edit. Yeah, I've been like really watching the dad store for those like what am I doing? Invert. For sort of the opportunities. Yeah, I know how that sounds. I'm taking advantage, but I mean, really, in a brick and mortar store, if a brick and mortar store puts the wrong price on an object on a product, they are required by law to honor it. And two, the store has been such a headache even before the store changeover. And if you go into the forums, it's sort of the same way that like even their apology sales have been a little less than apologetic. like in other words, the pricing errors in. So it's like when you get the pricing errors in your favor as opposed to in their favor. It kind of does make up for the headache of even just trying to pick up the free stuff they have out there, they put up there. And so far, about 30. Oh, not Allison Liz. And you get like the people in the forum are all like, "Oh, but it's coming out of the pocket of the PAs and the artists," and it's like the stuff I've been seeing. It's been coming out of the Daz Original stuff, which is owned by the store, and the PA's already got their money for it, so they're not really taking a hit. It's all coming out of the store. The store is bearing the brunt for their mistakes anyway. Um, Oops, my little. Come on, there we go. I'm looking downward. No. Yeah, that's a better. Okay. Okay. Let's see. See. So yeah, I think just this week alone, since they swapped over the store, I picked up like, oh, what did I get? I picked up like 9. Let's see. I'm picking up a mess of Gen 8 and Gen 3 bundles. So I've got I think this week I picked up. I know I keep going back and forth on this. 7 pro bundles, 3 of those theme bundles that they've been doing more recently, and like 4 starter bundles on top of like the like the individual one-off products and the free stuff that they put out. So I don't know if I'm actually going to be working with the Genesis 8 figures, because all the Genesis 8 maps can actually be used on the Genesis 3 figures. So I could, in theory, transfer all the Genesis 8 character maps to Genesis 3 and then just sort of create my own look for the characters to go with those maps. And that way it's a lot easier to use. Well, no, I guess Genesis 8 is supposed to use all the old clothing and hair too, but oh no, this is the one. But open his layers. Get lost in thought here. Layer scale 33. So whether I work with Genesis 8 or 3 with these characters, I'll probably be using a lot more of the newer generation figures than Genesis 1 here in future projects. Let's see. I got so many characters now. I may do like some of the Patreon artists and DeviantArt artists out there, so like, and sort of mess around with one-off images. What am I doing? Ugh. Okay, let's start over here. Edit, cut. I think overall I'm out of my mind here. I think this was more about talking to myself than talking to you guys. Just think, you get a front row seat to the breakdown. No. Okay. Save. I think. I'm gonna have her back up. And I think in the back of my mind, and now I guess that I'm voicing it, it's not quite so much in the back of my mind anymore, but I've sort of got this fear that this won't offer any new ideas. I don't know if that makes sense. I guess I'm afraid that this is going to end up just rehashing a lot of things I did in previous stories. Does this happen all the time too? We got hit by a flashlight. We're shrinking. Yeah, it does. Let's see. Paste as new layer. Let's do an ellipse. Yay, there we go. So what was it like? I think so. The idea of individual images, not so much that I want to abandon book creation here. I think it's more of the idea of I want to sort of play around with multiple ideas at once kind of thing. Plus to increase sort of the content offered on Patreon. And I think what I did with roommates, and I actually do want to sort of vary it, do a variation a little bit different, but the idea is to take is to give you guys individual stills from the story. And at least that's what I did with roommates. What I want to do with this story going forward, and I won't actually put out any of those images until I've got the characters tiny, is what I want to do is, instead of still images from the story like I did with roommates, it's going forward. I want to do sort of behind the scenes images with basically like the avatar that I was pointing out in the first video in page 1 here. And I've also got a cameraman figure saved somewhere. So the idea is like you put behind the scenes images, where it's like, where you have like the avatar as the director, maybe like setting up the scenes with, as if they're actors. Now in this next scene, that sort of thing. Or maybe you get like, or maybe like images of the characters resting between scenes, stuff like that. Stuff that's outside the story. Oops, edit, undo. Open its layers. See, now I don't even know where I am mentally here. Layer scale, 34. Shoot. Actually, you know what I might do here? Okay. I don't really have enough text, and I know the next shot is not going to be big enough to take over a scene. What I'm going to do here is we're going to do something just a little different than we've been doing. And this one's going to, I'm going to do 3 across. Yeah, this will work. Okay. Layer to image size. Invert, shrink, edit, cut. Okay. Merge that down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this because this is no longer going to stretch across the panel. I can bring this up here, and I am going to have to instead of just redoing this box, I'm going to do this. So we're going to go edit. No, I need to be on the box. Edit, cut, none, edit, paste as a layer. Ooh. Okay. So what I want to do is get this. Oh no, I need to be shoot. I need to be on you. I'm on the wrong one. Okay. What I want to do is get this as close to the edge as I can. So then we'll come over here and we'll just sort of copy a large chunk of this box. Control C that, paste as. Okay, so this is going to come down, right? There we go. Okay, that. Okay, there we go. That works. So now we're going to merge all this down. Merge, merge, merge. And instead of having this centered, I'm going to bring it over here. Okay, now let's zoom out. There. Okay, so now, let's see. I need the calculator. Calculator. Now, Michael is 74 inches. He's 6'2". So let's take 1 divided by 74 equals. So scale as a percentage of 100%. That's 1 inch is 1.35%. So to get him to 6 inches, we go times 6. And he's going to be 8.1%. I think because I want this a little more precise, what I'm going to do is let's select them both, and I'll hit the scale box. I'll go to parameter settings, and we're going to check off as percent. So instead of being 100, full size is 1.0. That way I can kind of fine tune it a little more. So he can be 0.81, 081 instead of probably cutting off the 1. But we're not there yet. So what I'm going to do is we're going to change this to 15. Change them both to 15. And I think I got her, so I'm going to put her against the thing. So the idea is when Allison comes out, she doesn't see her mom because her mom's so far away. And what I also need to do is open that door. This is girl door. Open. $80? Yeah. Oh, shoot. Let's see, what have I got? I think I've still got the remote on the desk, so I can go ahead and delete this one, or not. Oh, shoot, let's take the beam off, unparent. I'm just going to put it back on fields, or not. There we go. They're both invisible anyway, because I don't want to delete the beam, just the remote. So let's go delete. And I think let's expand the hand, because what I want to do is delete all these keys. And delete keys. Now, yeah, it could probably bear explanation here, in case you're just tuning, in case like you're picking up this video series here and you haven't been watching every single one of these things from the beginning to now for every story, and I don't blame you. Basically, what I do is I make use of the timeline and the keyframes and all that stuff. You'll see I've got the keyframe range set at 1.1, so I don't end up going into a different keyframe by accident. What I'll do is when I create the sets and load the characters in and set up and basically set up a base pose, I'll do that on keyframe 0. And then when I've got everything in its base position and I'm ready to start working, I'll go into frame 1, so that whenever I make a change to either a character's pose, their location in the set, or like you see here when I open the door, Daz will create a keyframe for that, for the door or for the hand or for each individual finger, whatever it is I change, it'll create a keyframe on frame 1 where I'm working. So instead of going through each and every bone on the finger to reset it manually through the parameter tabs, I can just, like you saw a minute ago, I can just select all the bones for the hand and then delete the keyframes, and it'll reset to the base pose that I set up in keyframe 0. That's the purpose of that, is I can just reset an entire character. So if I wanted to, if I had sort of posed Allison and changed every bone on the figure, I can just select the right click on the hip bone, expand all, and then select the hip, come all the way down to the bottom of the chain. Go shift, left click, and it'll select everything in between. And then I can just come over here and go delete the keys, and it'll reset every bone on the figure to the base pose that I had set up on frame 0. But I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go right click and collapse all. Get off her. There we go. And we'll make it look like she's walking. And she's walking. Try and do this without moving the the frame here. Oops. Because how about let's delete that key. Delete the key. See, there we go. Now I don't want to delete the key on the hand because the fingers are, because I don't really want to change the fingers, so I'm just gonna just make the change manually. Let's focus on the head so I can kind of center the camera. See, and then too, when the characters are small, there's kind of less room for the camera to work. With roommates, I think what I did in the last two changes, I think when he was like 9 inches and then 4.5, instead of shrinking the character down, I actually increased the size of the set so that I would have the room to work. That meant that I was like that meant like Tony wasn't scaled at 100%. He was scaled at like 200 and then 400. Happy with that. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Paste as. Oops, I'm like messing this up here. Do I want to split it here or here? Ah, stop that. There we go. Yeah, I like that better. I think like who is it on DeviantArt? I think it's the username Drop Dream. I think it's the same one. Kind of going back to an old thought here, but I think I want to do a little bit of that where it just does this one-off fun images. Like maybe the sexual inference is there, but it's not really overt on the page. So it's like, which, um, so yeah, so the idea would be that I'd render, so it's like with roommates where I'd render the still images larger than normal at, I'll show you when this, I'll draw up the size when this is over and I can get into the dimension preset. But the idea would be that I would probably create the still images maximum size here for Patreon, and then maybe at some point scale them down and put smaller versions on DeviantArt. As sort of promotion to possibly drive traffic to Patreon. Ugh. Oh my god. There it is. Or not. There we go. Okay. Sorry for that little snip. Just needed to kind of fill my cup. I always hate doing these middle. Whoops, edit. I gotta invert. Now, hopefully, nope. It's got to be perfect on both sides. Come on, there we go. Okay, so layer to image size. Now we want 081, 081. Well, in theory, in like two, and one thing to kind of note is that 0.081, 081 is that this size will make him 6 inches, but it'll make Liz a little smaller. Because the idea is it makes, it's in theory, it makes the overall, it's in relation to the overall size of whatever is being shrunk. So it's in theory, it's like shrinking the two of them together, and the total height is his height, not hers. So it shrinks. This is what I mean about it not being. Easy to work with. The eyes. Okay, so let's see. Control C. Ah. And paste as. Come on, layer. There we go. Let's see if I can get this. Okay. You know what? Since I'm gonna have it down at 2, I'm going to take this one. Let's go Control C. Paste as new layer. And I'm going to flip it vertically. I'm going to bring it behind. This way all I have to do is just adjust the length, not the height. I need one more. Paste it as a new layer. And I'll let that drift over to the other panel. Let's see, go up a little bit. There we go. Generally, what I don't want to have happen is the edge of the word bubble line up with the edge of with the border of the panel like that. So, sometimes I can accept having it in the middle of this. My personal preference, I can have it in the middle of the white dividing line, or in this case, I'll just let it cross over that line. I just visually for me, I just cannot have it joined on that line. Plus two, like how I see it, is having the word bubbles sort of creep into the other spaces. It sort of gives this free-flowing appearance on a page that's otherwise divided and boxed up. So it's like you have this scene in its own little box, this scene in its own little box, etc., etc. Whereas the word bubbles crossing over from one box to another gives this idea that everything's flowing from one panel to another. That's how I see it. I mean, it's it's like when people are always free to interpret things how they see it. So maybe you at home don't see it that way, and that's okay. But that's just how I see it. I don't know if I'd go as far as saying it's an intention, but it's after 25 stories, and this one is now 26. That's, it is how, I still see it and view it. And let's see here. And so it's like, it's like on one hand, it is partially a laziness and trying to keep everything contained within the box. But on the other hand, it's, let's see, let me get this first. On the other hand, because the page styles are to put everything in these neat little boxes to make it easier to set up panel view for Kindle. Sort of overflowing the panels is kind of how you break up the monotony of this format. So that is, let's see, save image, flatten, and file, export. And we will go enter today. There we go. And where are we? Here's page 11. In a minute, that jerk will be too small to get away from me. He'll be sorry he came in here to yell at my mom. Lizzie, you're okay. just whacked my head on the side of the counter getting up. It happens all the time around here. And does this happen all the time too? We got hit by a flash of light and now we're shrinking. Believe it or not, it does. Oh, you can't be serious. Not so big and angry now, are you? Of course, like Liz is over here somewhere. She's so focused on him, she doesn't see her. And that is page 11. If this goes online and you actually sat through this, then I hope you enjoyed it. And I want to thank you for tuning in. And I will see you next time, whenever that ends up being.